Hi Toms, we're right in the greenhouse, right in the workshop here at the moment. I'm doing a little job on a captive ring goblet, so I'm going to explain something here because a couple of people asked me at the wedding, how did you do the captive rings? I did a goblet for Eileen and Connor for the wedding, for a wedding present. So I'll show you how I do it. I'm not going to show you, I'll explain how I do it. So I'll just switch this, turn this screen around. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here. There's a goblet, that's one I did yesterday, and it's got the captive rings on it. Okay, so we've got two rings on the goblet stem, and they are cut in position. There's no gluing or anything else goes on. It's one piece of wood becomes three basically, and how it's done is like this. Now this is a piece of yew. It's actually quite a nice piece of yew, and the bowl of that goblet is finished. That's it, done. Now it's not completely polished yet, but as far as cutting is concerned, it's finished. And then after finish, this is a transition from there to the stem, but that's done last. I don't want to set my stem thickness before I cut my rings, but this is how the rings are cut. There's your solid piece of wood there, and then we cut the two rings, and what we use is, sorry, I should have this ready. We use a parting tool, and we'll see you get that in position here. The parting tool just cuts down both sides of the ring, so it leaves you with a piece of wood standing proud. And then I round over the top of the ring. I haven't done it in this one yet, just to let you see the difference. So that's it raw. That's it starting to be formed. Now, how do we get underneath here? There's a couple of different ways, but this is one of them. Using a ring cutter. A captive ring tool. Now that has got two cutting edges. It's got a cutting edge there and a cutting edge on the other side. It's sharpened on both sides, so it means that you're able to get in through both sides of the ring. I don't want to touch this because I've almost finished that. I don't want to touch it yet because I don't want to make a mark on the outside, but you cut on that side and then you undercut on this side, and eventually the ring pops off just by the process of undercutting from both sides. Now, a wee tip for anybody doing this, that is a 13mm ring size there, okay? This one here is 10, oops, where are we? This one here is 10mm. Now, there's a problem with this one. Whenever you're cutting, you're scraping so it's handle up all the time. But whenever you scrape, I'll get in position here, this back edge here, the back edge of the blade on the left there actually fouls the back of the ring. So you end up with a groove around the middle of the ring all the time, which makes your ring smaller because you have to sand that off or cut it off. So what I have found is that using a 13mm cutter, it allows you to get in. If we can get the angle of the camera right here, yeah, you can see it allows me to get into the ring without the back of the cutter on the left fouling the top of the ring, and it works from both sides. You can see from this side here, I'm clear of the ring here too, and I'm cutting or scraping on this side. Now that's one way to do it, but we don't all have these tools, and to be honest with you, I bought them because I thought, oh, more tools, I have to have more tools, but you don't need them. This is what I've been using for a long time to do captive rings. Allen keys, where are we? There, just an Allen key stuck in a handle, and all I've done there is, where, I can't find, oh yes, there's it there. It's just I've flattened the top and ground a bevel on the bottom, and that allows me to get in, oops, into the ring. Now the problem with it is, as you can see, 90 degrees, you don't have the same clearance as you have with the shorter cutting length here on the other tool. So you have to leave a much wider entrance to get in behind the bottom here, the bottom of the ring. The problem with that is that whenever you leave a lot of space to get in, you're losing wood here. Now I have enough wood there for two more rings if I make a mess of one of these two or both of them, so I can get another two rings out of this, but I couldn't get two more rings out by using this tool here. If I was using this tool, that would be a one deal shot, and maybe I get one more out up here, but the problem then is it's going to leave the stem very long, which is going to look wrong. So when you get your rings cut off, the rings will go loose, and in the back here, I'll point with this tool here instead. Here we have, this is a stem, okay, but the stem is far too fat at the moment. I'll just get a camera there. But what I do with that is, when the rings are off, they move to the left and right. I wrap sandpaper or abranet around that stem there, and that gives you my sanding for the inside of the rings. Now, it is a long and laborious process, but it's worth it, because at the end of the day, you end up with this effect here, and that's what we all love, you know, the two rings. And the secret is getting them off without cutting them or using glue, and that's how it's done. You just cut two discs basically in the stem, and then undercut from each side, and that frees the ring off. And then the laborious part of sanding is the next bit. So I've gone right. I got that one done yesterday. It took me, well, I started that one on Monday. What day is this? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have 2 days it took to do that one there. And then I started this one last night, and I've got the bowl finished, and it's cracked a wee bit, but I glued it and it stayed stable. Glue is very hard to work with, because the grain's running every road and direction, as you can see from this end here. It's all over the place, the grain. So it's very liable to split, and it's also doesn't take heat very well. But I think I've got off with it okay, and it's well worth persevering with, because as you can see, it's really beautiful wood, you know. That's another thing I do there, folks. For the turners, I've got a jam chuck in here to support the bowl, because when this gets really thin, this end here is going to be flopping about unless it's supported. So it's just an old bit of waste block in a chuck on a live center that has a screw that fits into the 1x8 thread in this here, so I can support another chuck from each end if it chucks at both ends of the thing. And that one there supports this end here. The most important thing then is, once you've got this made and all sanded up and you're ready to cut off, make sure you take this support away, because whenever you cut this, it'll buckle, and it's been held here. It has nowhere to go, so the stresses have to go somewhere, and they generally go into the stem and snap it in two. I've done that a couple of times. So get your support away at the very end on your last cut. When you know you're getting thin, take this support away, because you'll lose a whole lot if you don't. Alright, so there you are, folks. That's simply it. I think mainly this is mainly for Charles, who was asking me. He was very interested how to do it. So there you are, Charles. 2 discs, and then just undercut each side, and that's as simple as that. So there you go. So I'll get back to this again. I'm not going to do this live, because you can be sure as anything, as soon as I turn a camera on myself, it just end up in bits on the floor. I'm not confident enough as a wood turner to do any live turning yet, so maybe someday. Alright then, all the best now, folks. Bye bye.